G'day guys, and welcome to my instructional video on how to teach the handstand. So at the beginning of this video, I'm meant to be doing a full action of the handstand. Just want to acknowledge at the start that I am not a trained professional gymnastics person, nor have I ever had experience with gymnastics, so this is a bit out of my comfort zone. I've chosen to do the handstand, which is actually a difficult one, but I'm going to give it my best go to do the handstand, and I'm going to go through a few tips with you on cues to do the full handstand. Alright. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So basically, that's better than I thought I'd go. So the cues I want to remember for this one are the playing the piano with your hands. So instead of having your hands flat like this on the ground, hope you can see that. Instead of having your hands flat, you want to pretend you're playing the piano. So that means you want to have your hands sort of like that. So like a bit of a claw type situation. So imagine you're playing the piano on the ground. So you want to have your hands that are like that, spread out, nice and spread. All right. Also, when you're doing the handstand, you want to have your bum clenched. So you want to have your bum really clenched and tight together, keeping your legs, inner thighs together as well, and your feet should be also together. So imagine I was upside down. You want to have your legs as parallel to one another and close to each other as you can. Cool. Also, when you're doing it, you want to be pretending you want to squeeze a $50 note between your cheeks. That's basically what I've been told. I think the kids will get a bit of a laugh out of that one, so maybe make sure they're responsible before telling them that one. Also, what you want to do is point your toes. So you want to be pointing your toes towards the sky. And when you're doing it, you have your hands playing the piano, you want to be looking downwards at your hands. So you don't want to be gazing out in front of you, you want to be looking downwards at your hands, making sure that your hands are really shoulder width apart and really in the right position. Cool? Alrighty guys, so progression one of my handstanding lesson or unit I would be doing would be counterbalancing tasks. So counterbalancing tasks are tasks where students pair up and they do exactly what they sound like, so they counterbalance. So basically they're putting their weight on different directions and making sure they're balancing at the same time through contact. So essentially I'm going to go through two of the counterbalancing tasks that I do. There's a big roadmap on the Learn Online, which I've got this resource from. So essentially for one of them, obviously I don't have a partner here, a bit of a loner, but imagine this ball wasn't here, I'd have a partner here. It looks like I'm doing a wall squat, but I'm not. All right, I'd be with my knees down, sort of like a squat position, and my partner, who's here, around here, would be opposite me, mirroring this image. So basically we'd be holding hands and then counterbalancing each other. So I'd be leaning back, we'd be gripping with hands, either a monkey grip or an alternative grip, whatever's comfortable, and we'd be gripping and I'd be leaning back and they'd be leaning back. And essentially if we're weighing the same and putting in the same force, we should be able to balance with one another. Also the same as this sort of one, but it'd be reversal. So imagine there's someone out behind me where the wall is, we'd be just facing one another. Our backs would be the contact point, so from the bum up to the shoulders, and we'd be contacting and we'd just be putting force through our legs, lean backwards into our partner, and you can balance yourself out however you like. So you might have your arms crossed or arms out like that, for example. So some of the cues you'd want to be specific to the students for this one would be stuff like communicating to one another, because communication is key to their safety. And you'd also want to challenge them. So if they're rapidly succeeding, you could challenge them to say like, oh, you can do that really well, how can you maybe do another one, can you create one for the class? So you just keep them like thinking on the spot, and then they can just reach their ZPD much easier. Alrighty, for our next progression, we're going to do the donkey kicks. Alright, so donkey kicks, you basically want to be in a crouch position with your hands on the floor. We're going to come back to what we learned at the start about the successful handstand cues. So what we're going to do is refer back to that play the piano. So piano with the hands are down, playing the piano, spread out, nice and spread. Playing the piano, like I said, you want them to be about a forearm's length away from your hands, your feet. So about a forearm away. And then what I'm going to do, playing the piano, I'm going to have the heels off the ground, ready to go. I'm going to power through my toes and kick my bum up in the air as high as I can. So this might be a bit difficult near the wall here, but here we go. Bang! Try and get as high as you can. So if you power, bum up. Don't straighten the legs, keep them nice and parallel. Bum up. Okay, and you're going to repeat that. We're going to repeat that a few times. Okay, so cues to remember, like I said, play the piano with the hands, feet, heels off the ground. Also, we will have power through the toes, up, bring your bum up. Cool. So bum to the sky would be one I'd say. Alrighty, go. We're starting to get into the more extensive task now. So these are the ones where we're going to incorporate a partner, so partner work. So this one we're going to do the partner wall walk. So partner will be there as a spotter, to just encourage and make sure you're on track. Basically what you want to be doing, you want to get a nice piece of wall like I've got here. You want to work out your rough height. So I'm about 180 centimeters, for example, so I want to walk out like a step and a half maybe. So just a bit shorter than your full height. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your hands down in front of you, like the donkey kick. So we're going to pretty well repeat the donkey kick almost, but this time we're just going to go kick our feet towards the wall, and we should have our toes on the wall. So once I've done this, so here we go. I've done the donkey kick sort of. All right, once your feet are on the wall and your hands are in the piano position, you're going to start walking slowly closer with hands and feet to get closer and closer to the wall to get as parallel as you feel comfortable. Okay, so you can hold it there. Also, the reason we'd have a partner here is to spot you. So I'm going to come down. So my partner might be here, say I was just doing that for example. My partner might be here helping me out, making me feel comfortable. So they might be doing things like holding my ankles in position, just to make me feel confident while doing it, because it is a bit scary being upside down or the blood's rushing to your head and stuff. So they could be just holding my ankles, walking me up the wall, or just like touching my back softly like that, just increase the comfort of the person doing the task. This is a pretty important one for me because, like I've written in my progressions, that the handstand is very much a mental thing. So I believe that it's a mental thing as much as it is a physical thing. So feeling confident will increase a student's ability to perform it, I believe. So by having that person there, we'll just start getting the students confident being upside down, like I mentioned before. And if we can get them feeling confident in the lead up with activities and progressions, then I think they'll be more capable of succeeding later. All right, time for the wall stand. So once again, we've got a piece of wall, but we're going to practice before we're doing the wall. We're going to practice doing the technique without the wall. So basically, we're going to go down into the downward dog position. For those of you familiar with yoga, like myself, you're going to put your hands down flat on the ground. This time flat. One leg you're going to kick up, extend in the air, and you're down. So we're downward dog, so we're a bit up higher. I'm going to put that back leg up. So this is my back leg, the one in the air I'm referring to as my back leg. So what we're going to do is going to do sort of similar to the donkey kicks again, but this time I'm going to raise this back leg as high as we can and try and get it as high as we can parallel, okay? So I'm going to jump up and I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to do that three or four times. You do it a few times each. Back leg extended again. Once again, up and down, up and down. All right, we'd switch legs. Sorry, I get a bit of cramp in the hip. Here we go, and you switch legs and then you do it the other leg. Do it on the other leg again. Try to get as high as you can, probably a bit higher than me, hopefully. Alrighty, so we do that a few times. That's basically to practice for our wall stands, what we're going to be doing now. So you get the kids to do that a few times, you monitor how they're going, and when you feel confident in the group or individuals in particular, you can get them to come to a wall. So we're going to repeat the same thing closer to the wall. Hopefully you can see here. I'm going to tilt the camera this way so you can see a bit better. Alright, so closer to the wall this time, same sort of position. We're going to have this wall here. So essentially we want to be upside down on the wall. Alright. So we have our hands down in front. What we want to do is work out our head. So if our head's hitting the wall, we're too close. So my head's hitting the wall perfectly there. That means I want to go back a little bit. So now my head shouldn't really be able to hit the wall unless I really extend it, okay? So we've got our hands. My hand's probably about 20 centimeters away from the wall to give you a bit of a rough idea. And we're going to do that same process again. So I'm just going to acknowledge that I probably won't be able to do this, but if you would have students in the class who are a bit more excelling in this area, or maybe they do gymnastics, for example, you can use them as your demonstrators in this situation, all right? Same with the perfect handstand at the start, you could have done that. All right, so I'm doing it, back leg goes up, and I'm gonna try and get up. Oh, I touched the wall, but I didn't get there. And I'm trying to get up again. Oh, there it is, oh. Close, close, one more, here we go. I think I got it here. All right, last try. If I don't get it, you get the point. All right. So you know if your feet aren't touching the wall, you know you're not getting that leg high enough. So you need to really power off them through them toes, like we said before. Last try. Here we go. Ready, steady, go. There it is. All right, that'll do me. I'm pretty happy with that. And then you'd sit there for a bit. You'd have your spotter once again. All right, once again. This one is done with a spotter. Sorry, we're breathing. This one is done with a spotter because even I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So even if you had spotter there, even if they don't touch you or like make contact at all, it just makes you feel confident that you have someone there watching you and they'll be able to reinforce some cues use your students in this situation. So obviously as a teacher, it's hard to get around to 15 kids if they're in groups of 2, for example, a class of 30. So you use your students as the more knowledgeable others in this situation, making sure, once again, making that student feel comfortable to perform the skill. I feel like I would have felt more comfortable if I had a partner there, for example. Some of the safety precautions you could put in place when teaching their handstand to year 4s, 6s in schools are soft surfaces. Rather than cement, for example, you would use a grass surface. Not only will this be more forgiving when students do make them inevitable mistakes and fall over or injure themselves, it'll also make them feel more comfortable and better perform the skill. Other things sort of related to this are mats, which you can use to place under students. For example, with a wall walk, so you might have the hands on the mat, and same with the handstands at the end on the wall. Another thing that was just discussed in detail in my progressions was the spotter, just for that mental and physical safety of the person. And also by having students grouped up, you'll be able to be more safe, as you'll be able to monitor them easier because there's less people doing it at one time. Also, on top of this, you could do progressions that are slow and easy to understand. So if students are struggling, for example, when the donkey kicks, everyone should be able to get through. But when you start getting to them harder ones with the partner, such as like the wall stands and the wall walks, you may be able to progress students slower, or have alternatives similar to the donkey kicks that students can do to work their way up to these ones before getting into them.